Hello my dear students. So today we start with our one of the departmental elective subject, that is a mechanical vibrations. So we start with the basics first and then we'll go for one by one deeply inside the subject. Okay, start with the history of the vibrations. So can you tell me what do you mean by vibrations first of all? Yes. So vibration means any repetitive motion of the mass about its mean position can be called as a vibration. So we start with the history. Galileo in 1564 to 1642, an Italian mathematician, studied the oscillation of pendulum as shown over here and developed a mathematical relation between the frequency and a resonance. Okay, but he haven't discovered relation between the frequency, relation between the mass, spring and a damper. Okay, so Galileo and Hooke developed the relation between the frequency and the pitch of the sound after that, but the actual analysis start by Isaac Newton made the contribution towards the dynamics of mechanical vibrations by introducing spring, mass, momentum and the three laws. Then Euler working on a bending of vibrations. Then Lagrangian worked on the theoretical mechanics and developed the equation for vibrating body. The Rayleigh has computed the approximate natural frequency of vibrating bodies using energy approach. So throughout the syllabus you will find Newton's laws, Lagrangian equations, Rayleigh's method and lot of the things are there. So all these scientists makes this subject completely for the study. So now we go for the basic theory and then we go for the actual implementation of the syllabus. Okay, first of all, basics of vibrations. Now how vibration creates. Okay, you have a questions how vibrations are created. See the first of all this pendulum. Okay, so this is a string and the mass is attached at the end. So what happens, suppose if I push this mass from this, suppose this is the mean position, if I put this mass from this position to this position, then what happens, due to the height difference or due to the gravity, this mass potential energy of this mass will be increased. Okay, it means that mgh, it height from the center of gravity will be increased. It means that it will be increase the potential energy of the mass. And now if I release it from this position, then it will start oscillating like this. It means what happens, from this point to this point, from this point to this point, it means that from extreme position to the mean position, again all the potential energy converted into the kinetic energy, and again kinetic energy converted to the potential energy. So this cycle repeats itself, and due to this mass will get oscillates about its own position. So this is the major reason for the creation of mechanical vibrations. Okay, now see this second figure. Vibration therapeutic. Okay, now in this case what happens, here I have displaced the mass once and it automatically accordingly it will be oscillated among its own. Okay, now here what happens, I have, here we have attached one eccentric mass, okay, which is rotating one. Now due to this eccentric mass, this system will be vibrated. Okay, so this is the creation of vibrations as per our requirement, and this is the actual vibrations. Okay, let the second one, first of all the spring at its mean position, and again from, if I displace the mass and if I release it, so due to the inertia, first of all if I displace it, then kinetic energy comes into then potential energy of the spring converted to the kinetic energy of the mass, and again kinetic energy converted to the potential energy of the spring. So this energy conversion creates the vibration. So basically this is the reason of vibrations, or basic theory regarding the vibrations. Okay, so now we straight to the reasons of vibrations. Already we have discussed some reasons, now we will discuss one by one. Unbalanced centrifugal force in the system. First one, non-uniform material distribution and unbalanced masses in the rotary system. As you seen in the GIF, one eccentric mass. Due to this eccentric mass, the rotary mass, the unbalanced force creates the vibration. So this is unbalanced mass in the rotary system. And non-uniform material distributions, it means that suppose while casting, while machining, if the material distribution is not proper, and if we couple this mass to the power transmission element, then it will create the vibrations. Okay. Then elastic nature of the component of the system. Suppose one rubber, if I couple it, if I attach it by both the sides, and if I just hang it, or if I just if I attach it and just move it, then it will vibrate on its own. For example, our musical instruments. Okay. So the next one, external excitation force applied to the system. Then natural calamities like a wind, earthquake, hydraulic waves. Wind, yes, our electric wires will be vibrated due to the wind. Then earthquake, disasters. Then hydraulic waves, it means that whenever the waves are imparting on the wall, then wall get vibrated. Then these are the certain reasons of vibrations. Then actual parts of vibrating body. So any vibrating system, we have to convert it in three terms: spring, mass and a damper. Spring, mass and a damper. Okay. Now mass stored the energy in the form of kinetic energy, that is 1 half mv square, so it is 1 half m into x dot square. We consider x as a displacement of moving body from its mean position. Then spring stores the energy in the form of potential energy 1 half kx square, and the damping force Cx dot will oppose the motion of moving body by absorbing the energy. It means that energy is absorbed in this damper as shown. Okay, and the standard equation is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to 0. This is for the free system, because we haven't applied the force over here. If it's a forced vibration system, then equation will be mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to f0 sin omega t. But if the continuous force is not there, then equation is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to 0. Fine. Where mx double dot represents inertia force, cx dot represents damping force, and kx represents spring force. Yes. Now parts come terminology. First one, periodic motion. What do you mean by periodic motion? A motion which repeats itself after equal interval of time. A motion which repeats itself after equal interval of time. Let us consider a bob is attached to the spring. Now this bob is moving from extreme position to mean position, again to the extreme position on right another side, again mean position, again to the extreme position. So this completes one iteration. Likewise, if the number of iterations are there, then this such kind of motion is called as a periodic motion. Then time period. Time taken to complete one cycle is called as a time period. Time taken to complete one cycle is called as a time period, as you shown in the figure. Suppose this is a mass from one position to another position. If you measure the time, then this is called as a total time. Okay. Then frequency. Now number of cycles per second is called as a frequency. It means that if in 1 second how many cycles are completed of vibrations or repetitions is called as a frequency. Natural frequency, when no external force acting on the system after giving the initial displacement, body vibrates on its own. Such vibrations are called as free vibrations, and associated frequency is called as a natural frequency. It means that already we have discussed any vibrating body or vibrating system, we have to convert it into in terms of three parameters: spring, mass and a damper. Okay. Now just don't consider damper, consider only spring and mass. Okay. Now if spring and mass system is there, and if I disturb it and if I remove the force after initial disturbance, then body will vibrate on its own, and it will get comes into the normal position after a certain number of time. Then the frequency of such kind of vibrations are called as a natural frequency, and such kind of vibrations are called as a free vibrations. Okay, because after given initial displacement we will remove the force. Then amplitude, maximum displacement of vibrating body from its equilibrium position. maximum displacement of vibrating body from its equilibrium position. It doesn't mean that, let it be, see the figure, minus a and plus a, both points or mark over there, then distance of minus a to plus a is not the amplitude. Distance from mean position to plus a or distance from mean position to minus a, this is the amplitude. So maximum displacement of vibrating body from its equilibrium position or mean position is called as the amplitude. Simple harmonic motion. The motion of the body to and fro about the fixed point is called as simple harmonic motion. Motion of the body to and fro about a fixed point is called as simple harmonic motion. Now why we have to convert this as a simple harmonic motion? Because for SHM the standard formulas are available and it's easily to analyze. Hence any vibrating system we have to consider it as a SHM, simple harmonic motion. Then next one is a resonance. Whenever the frequency of external excitation is equal to the natural frequency of the system, then amplitude of vibration becomes excessively large. This concept is called as a resonance. Now I will repeat it once again. What do you mean by resonance? Suppose external excitation, suppose there is one metal plate, okay, and if I want to make it vibrated, then what happens? What I have to do? A fork is get, we have to hammer it and we have to touch to it. Okay, whenever the frequency of forked hammer matches with that plate, then there is a excessive sound you will feel. Then that is called as the resonance, and at that resonance you will get a maximum amplitude of the vibrating body. Then that phenomena is called as a resonance. It means that while designing any application or rotary application or reciprocating application, we have to design the parameters or we have to select the parameters such that for normal working conditions resonance won't occur. Next, the concept of degrees of freedom. The basic concept or the big concept in the mechanical vibrations. Degrees of freedom of vibrations. Minimum number of independent coordinates required to specify the motion of the system at any instant is known as degrees of freedom. I will repeat it. Minimum number of independent coordinates required to specify the motion of the system at any instant is known as degrees of freedom. First one single degree freedom, second one 2 degree freedom, third one 3 degrees of freedom, and multi degrees of freedom, so on. So we have to, while going through the syllabus or while studying this subject, we are going to solve the law multi degree freedom system, 3 degree freedom, 2 degree freedom, single degree freedom. So start with, first of all, what do you mean by degrees of freedom? Let it be the mass. See the first figure. If the mass is displaced by a displacement x, then this mass will be displaced by displacement x, and if I remove the force, then mass will be vibrates on its own position due to the spring force. Now consider the second figure. Now here mass m1 is there, mass m2 is there. So x1 and x2. Suppose I displace the mass x2, okay, displace the mass m2 by a displacement x2, then I can't predict the displacement of mass m1, okay, without considering the spring constant k1 and k2. It means that entire system cannot be analyzed by considering only x2 or by considering only x1. We have to consider x1 and x2 both. It means that two coordinates are required to specify the motion of the system completely at any instant of time. Hence it is called as a 2 degrees of freedom. Similarly, in the very next figure, just see over there will be m1, m2, m3, and all are connected by means of interconnected springs. It means that in order to specify the system's complete information, we require 3 coordinates x1, x2 and x3. It means that we can call it as a 3 degrees of freedom. Likewise, we can go for the another figures also. Okay, so this is the concept of degrees of freedom. Next, classification of mechanical vibrations. First one, free and forced vibrations. Okay, now free vibration means what? If I apply, suppose this is consider the first figure. Here I have applied a force, and if I remove the force, then what happens? Due to the inertia, system vibrates on its own. That is called as the free vibrations. Okay, and what do you mean by forced vibrations? If I now consider second figure, here a rotary mass is there, okay, and this has a eccentric mass, so due to the eccentric mass it will vibrate it on its own. So such kind of vibrations are called as a forced vibration. It means that continuously applying the external applied force, and due to this it will vibrates on its own. So such kind of vibrations are called as a forced vibrations. Then linear vibrations and the non-linear vibrations. Okay, you know the force spring. What is the spring force? 1/2 k x square, correct na? 1/2 k x square, that is a spring, that is the energy stored by the spring, 1/2 k x squared. Fine. Now in this case, what we have discussed, what we have assumed, that spring behaves linearly. It means that at any instant, suppose 1 Newton force is applied, then displacement is, let it be 1 unit. Then 2 newtons, let it be displacement will be 2 units. Likewise, spring offers linear manner, then such kind of systems are called as a linear vibrations. And what do you mean by non-linear vibrations? Suppose after certain interval, after certain displacement, spring behaves non-linearly. It means that spring constant not remains constant, it's varying. Okay, then such kind of systems are called as a non-linear vibration. It means that the parameters like a spring constant, like a damping constant, are linear or constant, then it is called as a linear vibrations. And if those constants are not, those spring constant and damping constant varies, then such kind of systems are called as a non-linear vibrations. Then next one, damped vibrations and undamped vibrations. As seen in a figure, see, if the damper is present, then such kind of vibrations are called as a damped vibrations, and if this damper is absent, then it's called as a undamped vibrations. Okay, then next one, deterministics and random vibrations, we will see it in a next slide. Okay, deterministic vibrations, and second one, random vibrations. Now what do you mean by deterministic vibrations? Suppose this is a mean position, okay, with respect to the time, and I know the amount of force that is applied on the system, and I know the displacement of the system, that I can predict it or I can measure it. It means that if the system parameters are measurable or known, then such kind of systems are called the deterministic systems. It means that such systems we can analyze it very easily by assuming that either SHM, either square wave, either triangular wave, which are the standard functions available in the mathematics. So such kind of vibrations are called as a deterministic vibrations. And second one is a random vibrations. For example, earthquake. For earthquake, a center point, we know some kind of approximate value of the applied force, okay, that on a Richter scale, but it is not constant throughout the entire region. It means that in this case application of force, that is force applied, is again a random, as well as the vibrations are again random for a consideration or a considered place. Then such kind of vibrations are called as a random excitation or random vibrations, okay, whose analysis is tedious. Then we start with the next one, longitudinal, transverse and torsional vibrations. Now what do you mean by longitudinal vibration? Suppose this is a spring, and this is a spring or elastic material or elastic medium in it. So this is the axis, okay, and this mass, if the displacement of mass is along the axis of the spring material or the elastic material, then such kind of vibrations are called as a longitudinal vibration. See the first figure. In the second figure, what happens? Here displacement of mass is perpendicular to the axis. Here flexible material is the shaft, and this mass is disturbing or having the displacement perpendicular to the elastic material or elastic member. Then such kind of vibrations are called the transverse vibrations. For example, vibrations in a string or vibrations in electric cables, okay. Then next one is the torsional vibrations. It means that suppose elastic medium is there, and at the bottom, if I coupled the circular plate, and if I twist it and if I released it, so it will get vibrated on an angular scale. Then such kind of vibrations are called as a torsional vibrations, okay. So this completes the classification of vibrations. So another or the next level, next theory, we go for the next PPT. Thank you.